Hey guys, welcome back to the channel where I cover missing persons, unsolved cases, crime news, and more. So I'm going to continue. I'm going through some of the interviews that Sebastian's family did since he went missing, and it's now been over 100 days since the 15-year-old allegedly walked out of his family home in Hendersonville, in Tennessee. Now, this one is an interview that Seth Rogers did with Vinnie Politan on Court TV. So let's take a look and go through it.
There is no evidence to support foul play is involved in the disappearance of Sebastian.
But at this point, you don't rule it out?
We're not ruling anything out.
And I believe that's pretty much where the case sort of stands today. Law enforcement hasn't really given any updates due to a lot of drama in the case. And I'm not going to get into that. That's not what I'm here for. I am here for Sebastian. I am Team Sebastian. We need to try to find 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers.
Not ruling anything out. Why? Because they don't know what happened here. They don't know. I want to bring in our special guest right off the top, Sebastian's dad, Seth Rogers, joining us tonight from Clarksville, Tennessee. Seth, thank you so much for joining us. I know this isn't easy. A lot of people are asking you for your time, so we do appreciate it. How are you doing? How are you holding up? Your feed,
just looking for my son.
Your feed just froze up for a second. I'm so sorry, Seth. So we didn't hear. How are you holding up tonight?
I'm just looking for my son. There is no holding up. It's just moving forward. Move forward to the next location. Move forward to the next. Anything that I get, any type of lead, any type of anything. I mean, it's just every day holding on to hope.
What are your thoughts about the investigation and the status of the law enforcement investigation into the search for your son, where they're not ruling anything out, no evidence of foul play? Do you think that they have found anything so far in more than a month?
I'm not part of the investigation, and they don't have to let me know anything, which they don't let me know anything.
And while this interview was done a couple months ago, this remains true today. They're not really, law enforcement, investigators, they're not really talking to the family, at least not Seth. And that is because of the drama. And he's correct, though. They don't have to talk to him. They don't have to say anything. And but I just hope that they are trying to do everything that they can still amongst all of this to find Sebastian. Again, that's what it's all about. It's not about Katie or Chris Proudfoot or Seth Rogers. This is about Sebastian. And putting everything else aside, everyone should be in the same camp. We need to find Sebastian. And what happens after that? Well, that's not really anything we need to be concerned about at this point. We just need to find Sebastian.
Fair enough. Not letting you know anything is one part. The other part is you're his dad, right? So has that communication been enough to have you feel like, okay, I know and I trust that they're working this thing?
I'm in law enforcement myself, so I've got to trust the procedure. I got to trust that if everything is followed by the procedure and everybody's doing what they're supposed to do, that there will be a positive outcome and my son will be found. I I don't understand. They haven't came up with anything. Why they're not asking for higher powers to help.
From where, I want to go back to when you first found out, and then this part isn't clear in my head. Where were you when you found out that Sebastian was missing, and who called you? What was that conversation like? And then sort of what happened next there?
Made it out to the parking garage. When I got in my vehicle, I saw I had a missed call and a text message. Christopher Proudfoot. Text message was a 911, so I called immediately. And he's the one that told me that Sebastian was missing.
And how much detail did he give you about what happened, and how would you describe that moment, that call?
Wasn't much detail except for Sebastian. He said Katie woke up, Sebastian's missing. So I left the parking garage and headed straight to her house.
There wasn't much detail because Chris Proudfoot was hours away. He knew, allegedly, he knew as much as what Katie told him on the phone. And at this point, I'm not saying any of them did anything, okay? The only thing I'm going to say is Katie was the last one to see Sebastian. So the last one to see him is always going to be a definite person of interest. And the fact that she's not saying more, and I believe she knows more, whether she did something or not, her not talking is a big problem. And it should never have been Chris that called Seth. Never. Katie should have had the gall to pick up that phone and call Seth. Yes, they have a lot of problems and a lot of history. Let's just forget about that. Seth is the biological father of Sebastian. Katie is his mom. So there needs to be a communication there, and there needs to be on the same wavelength when it comes to their son.
And how far are you from the house?
About 45 minutes from downtown correction center to their house in Henderson, Sumner County.
Okay, so now you respond. You're on that 45-minute ride there. Are you talking to anyone, or are you just pedal to the metal trying to get there?
No, I'm trying not to get a speeding ticket.
I get that, but I mean, are you just focused on getting there, or are you calling his mom to get more details?
No, I'm just focusing on traffic to get there as fast as possible.
So now when you got there, what happened at that moment? Like, did you have a conversation with his mom, and did you try to find out, like, well, what the situation was here?
When I got there, there was already law enforcement presence there. So I walked in and just started listening to what was going on.
And
I wanted to hear what was going on. So I got to hear her telling law enforcement asking questions, me listening to the questions and listening to the responses from his mother.
And what did you form any opinion based upon what you were hearing?
Knew my son was missing, and I just started watching body language, listening to words coming out. Did I form an opinion? Yeah, I formed an opinion. I am only human.
And what was that opinion?
That once again, my son, something has happened to my son under her watch. And once again, she wasn't being an adult. She wasn't being a parent taking care of an autistic child.
So, as you're listening and watching her, now she was home. It was just Sebastian and his mom that were home at that time?
When I got, yes, because when I got there, it was just Katie, and I think Chris's mom was there, but it was just, when the incident happened, it was just Katie and Sebastian at the house, from my understanding.
Now, I've got to imagine your mind is racing at the time you're hearing all this information. So as you're hearing the information from Katie, and from what you're telling me, it seems like you're a little upset in how things were handled. So what happened next? Where did you go? Where did she go? What did police do at that time? Because this is very early on, right? This is the morning of.
They started asking me questions on where I'd been. I told them I'd been at work since, I've been clocked in since before 7, but I'd been at work in the parking garage since about 6 o'clock the night before. And I told them they can call and verify where I've been at. And I just sat there and started listening. Just listening to everything that was being said.
Now, did you have any reason to believe that there were any problems in that home?
Katie was pretty adamant about having a good weekend, which meant my son wasn't misbehaving in her point of view.
So I'm trying to read between the lines here. Do you believe that she doesn't exercise enough patience with Sebastian, and that causes some problems in the home, or she doesn't approach her responsibilities as a parent appropriately? Like there's something off there?
Autistic children take a different. Well, autistic children take. It's a different aspect when you're a parent of an autistic child. You don't really get much freedom because you have to set a routine and you have to go abide by it. And when she's sitting there telling me she put him to bed at 9 o'clock the night before or 9:30 the night before, and then she heard him in there and told him to go to bed and things like that, it's like there's not much of a routine. And with there's no routine, then autistic children don't act the same way they're supposed to. When I've had him, there's a routine in my house when I have him. And he's a teenager. You're gonna listen, you're gonna hear some back talk probably. I mean, they're growing. They're going to rebel some way. They're teenagers, so you're going to listen to it. You're going to have to deal with it. But you still got to remember that you're a parent. And you have to adjust your lifestyle to be able to make sure that they can adjust and learn and still grow. You can't do some of the things that I've seen her do in the past. So the custody arrangement, it seems you both have custody, and he'll spend time with you as well as with his mom. Were there any indication in your communications with Katie that like she didn't want custody, that she didn't want that responsibility, and there were problems, and she was running into some rough waters? Anything like that? Most of my discussions were actually taken care with Chris, and Sebastian was supposed to come live with me. Chris was working on Katie, on getting her to agree to it. And all I wanted was my son to come live with me. I've already got him enrolled in school. I've had him enrolled in school. I gotta find him. I gotta find him.
You know, the timing of this disappearance, whatever happened to Sebastian, and the fact that Seth was supposed to get custody of him, and the whole situation with Chris Proudfoot and his daughter, Faith, that still stands out in my mind. It's just a very strange timing to me. And I don't know. It's hard for me to believe in coincidences in these cases. It's like something about him going missing right when everything is about to change, or about to be very important for Chris as far as getting custody of his daughter. It's just very, very strange. And I don't know what you guys think, but it's definitely something that stands out to me.
I want to put something up on the screen here. This is from the Sumner County Sheriff's Office. They made a Facebook post. Important announcement, attention everyone. We want to clarify that the eyeglasses recently found are not related to Sebastian Rogers. The search operation planned for today, which is like today, has been in the works for several days. We appreciate your cooperation and understanding. My understanding is that you and your team are the ones that found these glasses?
One of my teams. I have a group of volunteers that changes pretty much throughout the day, throughout the week. So whoever's off work that wants to come to help, they come to help. And then I separate everybody in teams and I ask them to go flyer this area or flyer that area. And one of my volunteer groups found glasses. They contacted me because they couldn't get a hold of anybody they told me they couldn't get a hold of anybody at the sheriff's office. I turned around, I called my contact. They were busy. I flagged down a deputy sheriff that I saw by our volunteer area and turned around and had him wait. And I told them to put on gloves, bag them, tag them, bring them back so I could give them to the deputy sheriff that was there so that we could fill out the evidence and have a chain of evidence.
And when you saw the glasses, do you agree with this, that they couldn't be Sebastian's?
They were very similar to Sebastian's. It's been a month and a half since I've seen my son. So, it's a month and a half since I've seen his glasses. They looked really, really similar to the point that I didn't want to lose a chance that these might be evidence. So I gave them to the sheriff's department to log as evidence.
Now remember, this was a couple months ago. So this was during a search, and this was when, in my opinion, Seth was really focused. He had a lot of great volunteers out there. Seems to me like the last few weeks are a cluster, but I don't disagree with him. It's whether or not they belonged to Sebastian, and they were found obviously not to belong to Sebastian. They were definitely something that needed to be looked into, for sure.
I want to play for you Katie, who spoke on YouTube to the Chronicles of Olivia, describing that morning and the night before. And I want to get your reaction to what she says happened in the house and where they were. Let's watch.
We went and picked up our niece. I got a call and asked if I could go and pick her up, and I did. And so we went and did that. We went to BJ's. Had a good time there. He ate a colossal popcorn. Came home to put groceries away because we bought snacks because, he's 15 and snacks. We went to the bowling alley. And then from there we went to dinner. Came home. He took out the trash because that's his chore. He takes the can to the end of the driveway.
I still find that day that was allegedly spent, the last day that Sebastian was seen, to be odd. Because there was a lot going on, and it didn't seem like that was common in Sebastian's life. And also, it's been mentioned with his autism, a lot of activity can throw him off. So, again, lots of popcorn, trips to, the store, going to dinner, bowling. I mean, a lot going on right before Sebastian goes poof. It's another tick, another flag that is raised in my mind.
About 9 o'clock, told him to go to bed. He come out of his room where he was playing, and he said, "All right, good night, Mama. Good night, puppies. Love you." And went to bed. He was doing something in his room because about an hour later I heard some noise, and I was like, "I don't care what you're doing in there, but go to sleep." And about midnight I got up and I went to bed. And 6 o'clock I went to wake him up for school Monday morning. And that's when he wasn't here.
Seth, you know Katie better than all of us, obviously. You know your son so well. Is there anything in that story that doesn't make sense to you?
The inconsistencies, from what I've heard before, none of it makes sense. Things aren't, I'm not here to sling mud, but why is she asking Chris to verify what she did on Sunday when Chris wasn't here on Sunday?
Bingo. Chris wasn't there. Seth wasn't there. He's correct on this. Katie is the only one, besides anyone else that was with them throughout that day, that would know what was going on with Sebastian. Neither her husband or her ex, Seth, would know any of this stuff, besides what she told him, whatever she told Chris on the phone. So for him to verify, to quote unquote verify anything, is ridiculous. If he was where he says he was, which was working a few hours away, he wouldn't know what was going on. That's like secondhand information.
That is such...
Or the fact that she said that she heard a thump on another interview and didn't bother to check on our son. There's a difference between some noise or a thump. I mean, just... the information that I received from watching any of their podcasts don't make sense.
Seth, please stay with us. I have a few more questions, and I want to make sure everyone, why we're doing this is because there is a boy who is missing. Here's a dad who needs your help, and Sebastian needs your help. So Seth is going to stay with us.
I didn't see him in his room. I looked all over. I ran through the whole house. I looked out all the doors and windows, and I was like hollering his name. And I picked up the phone and I called my husband, and I said, I can't find him. And he said, "What do you mean?" I said, "He's not in this effing house. I can't find our son."
That's Katie Proudfoot describing what she says is the moment that she realized that her son, Sebastian Rogers, was missing. Sebastian's dad, Seth Rogers, is still with us tonight. Seth, again, thank you. What is the last verifiable proof of, I guess, proof of life is one way to put it. I hate to say it like that, but the last time that you can verify that someone outside of that home saw him or he was on video?
It would have been Sunday, leaving Texas Roadhouse.
And what time was that about?
About 6:30.
And do you know everyone who was there at Roadhouse with Sebastian?
All I saw was as they left the building and got into Katie's car, it was just her and Sebastian.
And anything unusual about the video?
Not that I could observe from what little I saw.
And when they went to dinner and out that day, I think Katie's described being with other family members. Have any of them spoken to you? Have any of them joined in the searches?
No.
No?
No.
This was a very sad point. See, these are these early interviews with Seth that really did break my heart. And I still believe that he's a very broken father. He's very broken, and it seems like the family has not been helping. He's been out there, and Katie doesn't seem to look. I mean, she claims she's done some, but yeah. Chris, the rest of the family, I mean, then you've got Chris's parents suspiciously going off on vacation. It's a lot of strange behavior, especially on the Proudfoot side, in my opinion. When a child goes missing or a family member goes missing, I mean, most of the time, the family wants to do any and everything they can to help. They want to go out and search, and if law enforcement, for whatever reason, won't let you, you're going to go out and be passing out flyers, getting the word out. And this case, it's just been very strange in that way. Seth has been the most visible when it comes to searching, and he's done a lot of it. I mean, I'm not saying that, he's always been right. Obviously, he's made a lot of mistakes, especially more recently, but from day one, in my opinion, he's always wanted his son found. I can't say the same thing for Katie or Chris, especially Katie. I just don't get the vibe from Katie that she's very concerned. I mean, that's just a vibe I get myself.
How about the immediate neighborhood? Have all the homes been searched? Have the people in that immediate neighborhood all been cooperative with
From my
investigation?
understanding, a lot of them have cooperated with law enforcement, and that they've given up their video cameras footage to some sheriffs, and they've been pretty much cooperative with law enforcement.
How about
Me personally, I haven't been in that neighborhood since the Wednesday afterwards. I've been around there. I've been to the beach high school, but as for going into that neighborhood, no. I've been next door to the construction area. I researched that. I searched it on the Tuesday after he left, and then I've been there a couple times to research it. I've been to Beach High School, been over to the fire station when they had the EMA mobile command center there.
Do you think it's possible that he would, because you know your son, that he would leave in the middle of the night, potentially barefoot, maybe with a flashlight?
It doesn't seem like my son at all. He would never leave my house in the middle of the night barefoot. And if he did, he wouldn't. He wouldn't. We've left in the middle of the night. There's been times that we've gone fishing in the middle of the night. We plan that sort of stuff. But him walking out the door in the middle of the night, no. It's not something he would do. It's something he's never done on me.
And that makes me think of how folks have been saying also that, he just ran away, he left. I feel like that's getting less and less of a possibility. I never thought that happened pretty early on. But from what I understand, when he was with his father, when he was with Seth, he would be there for hours while he was at work. If Sebastian wanted to run away from his family, just run away, get out, he's had other opportunities to do that. So why would he all of a sudden do it that night? To me, it doesn't just make a lot of sense to me. If you've had multiple opportunities, all of a sudden you're just gonna run away. I mean, again, it's possible. I mean, there's so many possibilities that are still open, but I don't know. It just, to me, that seems less and less a viable reasoning of what happened to him. I think somebody took him, something happened, and I still wonder if he ever truly made it home that night with his mom.
Is there any chance, and I know there were rules in place, but is there any chance that he could have been lured by someone either from school or somewhere else to, like, hey, we're doing something at night, or we're going somewhere, or we're going to meet up? Is that, do you think that's in the realm of possibilities?
I find that highly unlikely, because my son doesn't really have a concept of days or or time in order to plan something like that.
What do you mean? Could you explain that?
Well, trying to get him to wear a watch is already hard enough. I've had him set timers on his phone so that he remembers that, hey, it's 7 o'clock at night, I need to take my medicine. I mean, he doesn't really have a concept of time, except for, he's got to, when he gets woken up in the morning at his mom's, normally around 6 o'clock, he's got an hour to get up, get ready, eat his food, and be out there to catch the bus between 7:10 and 7:20. Then he goes to school. He gets out of school at 3 o'clock, and I normally call him about 3:30. But when he's here and it's a weekend or something, there's no time. Telling him at noon we're going to head out and go fishing, and I'll sit there and watch. And he's all interested in going fishing. I'll sit there, and then he'll walk up to me. It's like 1, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. He was like, I thought we were going fishing this morning. I was like, well, what time is it? And he'll run into the kitchen and look and be like, it's 2 o'clock. And it's like, oh, well, I thought we were going to do that this morning, and you needed to let me know when that was your thing. That's what I talked to you about. Let's get everything ready at 11 o'clock so we can go fishing. And you've been playing with your toys, playing on your video game, watching TV with me. And it was like, well, I didn't realize what time it was. And it's like, okay, well, we were supposed to do that this morning. let's go ahead and get it done now. You know, he didn't really have a concept at the time.
I want to take.
It's one of the reasons I wear a watch.
I want to take another listen to Katie and Chris from the Chronicles of Olivia here, talking more about Sebastian, and get your reaction.
Sebastian hasn't been on his medication in 20 days. So he is rambunctious. He's got to be hungry. He turns into a bottomless pit. I mean, he's your teenage boy, you know, always hungry. On the spectrum, yes. But not one autistic child in this world is like another one. What we can tell you is he's smart. He can be goofy. He kind of has issues with personal space. He hasn't mastered.
He can be
up in your face kind of kid.
he can be aggressive if he's upset.
Yeah. He's emotional. He's a teenager.
He doesn't like punch and hit and throw, but he gets really like aggressive stanced or like clipped where he just won't talk to you, or you know, if he's really upset, he like growls.
It's very interesting how they describe Sebastian, and I feel like some of that interview with the Chronicles of Olivia was, I don't want to say the most honest, but it was some of the best stuff that came out of the Proudfoots. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that we need to be hearing. We need to go back to, again, the basics, which is why I'm going through a lot of these interviews, and we want the facts. And again, Katie's behavior, how she's not really looking, her eyes are down, almost closed. It's a little odd. Katie has always been someone that I have a lot of questions for. And again, I'm not saying she did anything to Sebastian, but I definitely believe she knows more, for sure.
Seth, what are your thoughts about what we just saw?
They're describing my son when he was like 4 or 5.
He's different now.
Yeah.
Can you give us your routine now? I mean, I just get a sense that you're not sleeping much, that you are out searching, you're organizing, you're getting the word out. What is each day like for you? And what are your thoughts about where his mom is, Katie, which is not in town anymore?
Chris and Katie Proudfoot are they're adults. They're responsible for themselves. I'm Seth Rogers. I'm looking for my son, Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers. I'm his dad. He's missing. I have to find him. It doesn't look like they're doing it, so, you know, I'll do it on my own if I have to. I'll ask for people to come help. If they don't, then I'll do it myself. I've always been like that, you know. You can't rely on people. Luckily enough, I'm finding people that I can rely on currently to help me find my son, and I appreciate everybody that is showing up. We've gotten people that have showed up from Ohio. We've gotten people that showed up from Missouri. We've got people that have come in from Florida. Everybody, we got people in the community that are showing up. They're upset and they're mad at how Chris and Katie are behaving in this. But they're human. I mean, none of us are without fault.
This is the Seth, again, and I know I said this before, but this is the Seth that we need to find again. I feel like he's been lost. Something's been lost, and that happened when he got rid of the PIs and took on Tony, the PR guy. That's, in my opinion, that's his biggest problem. Okay? Seth, listen to what you said here to Vinny a couple months ago. You said you're going to do it on your own. You've got great people in the community all over the country coming to help you find your son. You need to go back to that. That's the basics. Okay? This is what needs to happen to find Sebastian. Law enforcement, the investigators are going to do their job. That's their job. They're going to find him, but it's the grassroots, it's the boots on the ground with the family and people who care that make the difference. You don't need a PR guy. You need supporters, and a lot of us are still on your side. We all have one goal as well. We are right behind you in the goal of we need to find Sebastian Rogers.
Just, I would think that parents would and should act different.
Seth, thank you.
I'm going to find him.
I hear it in your voice. I see it in your eyes. Our thoughts, our prayers are with you and Sebastian. Obviously, we're going to keep his picture on the screen as much as we can, night after night. Thank you so much, Seth. Good luck in the search, and please try to make sure you're taking. I know you don't worry about yourself, but please take care of yourself too, as well, Seth.
I will. I'll be around here long after I find Sebastian.
This is rough to look back at this defeated person. And again, my heart goes out to him. And he can get through all this current crap. We're all forgiving. We're forgiving people. If he just goes back to this, back to, we need to find my son, Sebastian Rogers. He's still got a lot of us behind him on that goal. Most of us are not. We haven't picked a side, Seth. The side, if anything, the side we've picked is Sebastian. Yeah, there's a lot of other crap that will probably need to be dealt with, but guess what? That's not my concern. And my concern is I am out here. I want to help keep his picture out there, keep his name out there. And I know there's a lot of other folks doing the same thing on YouTube, Facebook, X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everywhere, okay? And I am still sad that, I don't know, this might get some heat, but I'm sad that you didn't decide to come out to CrimeCon, Seth, because it would have made a big difference, I mean, even spending just a part of a day there, I think it would have been really good. You could have connected with a lot of the mainstream media, passed out more flyers, and it wouldn't have been about money, okay? It wouldn't have been about money. They would have never made you paid to go in if you wanted to do anything, okay? They would have given you access. I know they would have. And, I remember hearing that you were considering coming there, and I was really hoping that you would have. And it is disappointing. It truly is. But that doesn't mean, it's completely all lost. But just don't, you got to stop attacking these YouTubers, folks, and let's just get back to finding Sebastian. And this, like, again, this interview to me is the kind of stuff that we see when we see other parents out there searching for their babies. And I know you have a very, very good heart, Seth. I know it. I can see it in you. This interview really, I could see it. The hurt, the depression, the exhaustion. To throw an example out there, Brandy Neal, she wore her feet to the bone. She was out there knocking on doors, passing out her son's flyer. She was everywhere. And that's what we need to get back to. And I think that you are definitely a strong person, a strong dad, and that's what needs to be done. And let's get back to that. Where is Sebastian? We need to make sure that this number that's on the screen right now, these numbers, you can call Sumner County Sheriff's Office, 615-451-3838, or the TBI, 1-800-TBI-FIND. People need to see Sebastian's face. They need to see this number, and more tips will come in. They'll come in. But I'm hearing that there's not a lot of flyers out there right now. I didn't see anything when we went out to a few stores in Nashville. And Nashville should be covered in flyers, besides, the whole area in Sumner County. The state of Tennessee, everyone should know about Sebastian. But I don't know, guys. I mean, it's frustrating because my heart goes out to him, and my heart does go out to all this family. And my heart, most of all, goes out to Sebastian, because we don't know where he is, what happened to him, if he's out there suffering. I don't know. And I'm not trying to make anyone upset, but the bottom line is, at this point, we just need to find Sebastian. I know I sound like a broken record. I really, really do. But let's get through all this other crap, and let's find your son, Seth. Let's find your son. All right, guys. That's all I've got for this one. I'm going to continue to go through some of these interviews. If you have any recommendations on something I should be looking through, let me know in the comments or drop me an email. Again, I know I kind of mentioned on the side some of the stuff going on, but I'm trying to keep Sebastian's name and face out there and trying to follow the facts, and because that's what we need to be doing. All right, guys, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and most of all, stay safe.